Spiritual Therapy. It's your girl Wahida. I'm here with my best friend Mafuza, and we have a special guest today, Manolo Rose. What's up?
What's up, y'all? Mafuza. Where you get that name from?
Mafuza means protected.
Oh, yeah? In what language?
In Arabic.
Yeah.
It's Mahfuza.
Oh.
Most people call me Fuza.
Right.
Or people will call me Fuzi because of my Instagram handle. But it's Mahfuza.
Okay.
So
What do you think of that name, Manolo?
It fit her.
it's fitting. I'm telling you, I literally walk through life protected.
Right.
Allah is good.
She spent at least 30 minutes protecting her ankles just now.
So did.
Listen, that's very vital. Very vital. So, similar to us,
Right.
because both of us have some heritage with, Islam.
Right. Islam, yeah.
So we want to start off with that,
Right.
Where are you in your journey right now?
Man, I'm just like, I don't know, I'm probably in the most complete state of spirituality right now as I ever been, you know what I'm saying? I don't even know if I can, I'm not gonna say I can't, but I don't know if I can even get beyond where I'm at this point right now.
So you've reached transcendence.
Yeah, because I'm a person, I just really understand, like, because, when you went to like the historicity of religion and spirituality, where it starts, where it comes from, how does it transitions into other forms and other cultures and things like that. When you really understand the essence of it, it kind of puts you in a place of like, now you kind of get what's happening.
In the sense, when you say you get what's happening, do you get it in the sense where there's a separation of who you are as a being and who you are as an earthling?
Nah, I don't think there is no separation.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, how do you separate your human characteristics from the spirituality when spirituality is expressed through human characteristics? It's like you just can't, you know what I'm saying? It's like you trying to, it's almost as if you're saying just because you crack the egg out the yolk, that is no longer a part of the egg. You know what I mean? Like,
I see.
The shell is no longer there. It's like, but it's still, all of that is still.
It's all needed to be a complete.
In order to exist.
Okay.
It's still an egg.
Right.
So what does it mean when your human body now is no longer? Does your soul continue?
I don't know.
You don't know. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that's the whole concept of these theories, is the fact that you don't know. So you're trying to reconcile and come up with something as to you saying, because you also understanding that you seeing things in your human earthly life and body where you're watching this and like, this can't just be it like this. But what if it just is? It might be. What if it's not? Then it's not.
So
you know what I'm saying? Like, so I think when you get to the point of just saying, I don't know what happens after this happens. I don't know. I ain't never seen nobody die and come back and told me what happened. Like,
interestingly enough, I get what you say, but like for me, what about like the human experience, your experience so far, right?
Mm-hmm.
Forget about like what happens after this, because I don't know. None of us really knows.
Right.
What about like what has happened so far? How has your spiritual journey like really guided you, really protected you, really been useful in like your life, Because I know that like I've read articles where you speak on like, selling drugs and then going home to like pray.
Right.
So clearly you've had like
that moral compass all along.
Oh, of course. I mean, because you can't, well, for me, like, all right, so, when I was raised a Hebrew Israelite, right? As a child. So it's always been the concept of some form of morality placed there upon me to be like, yo. So yeah, as I'm outside, because it's like, yo, it's almost as if like when you're in Rome, you do what the Romans do, And I also understand like you can't escape, if you want to call it that, if you want to call it the devil, you can't escape the devil when you're going outside, when you're in the street. Now you could probably say, hey, I'm gonna just try to live this straight and narrow life and do it like this. That's possible. I'm not saying that you can't do that. But in some form of aspect, you're going to get touched by some of those things. Some of those things, and you're going to have to, at some point, indulge in. Where I'm from, it's either you're eating or you eating. So it's not even it's just the system that we live in. You know, that's capitalism at its finest. It literally tells you the cream will rise to the top. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, so should we just look at it like this? We literally live in a country where they advertise medicine. Now, nobody sees nothing wrong with that, but that's kind of bugged out.
Why is that bugged out?
Because it's like, yo,
Tell us.
why if a dude is sick and he has the potential of dying, why are you selling this to me? You're literally saying to me, hey, you want to live a little bit longer? Here's this commercial. We got this new form of drug that we got here. Then we gotta get to the doctor. The doctor, he might not even mess with the guy who made that medicine. So he not recommending that. Then you might go over here and he recommends like, nah, you should take this one, it's a little bit better. But he got a deal in the back room with this guy. So he just basically selling kilos of medicine.
Fun fact.
You know what I'm saying? So it's a weird thing. So when you live in a world where it's like that, it's already up. It's because it's all compromised.
Yeah.
Because it's a for-profit system.
Okay. It is a for-profit system.
At that point, you know?
And, you know, I've been working in the pharma industry for some time, and I'm still in the pharma industry.
Right.
And, but I also went to school. My master's is in regulatory affairs for biologics, medical devices, and pharmaceuticals. And there's laws on advertising, and, you know, they tell you, you know, you can't make people interpret more than what it actually is and all these things. But weirdly enough, America is the only country that allows advertising.
Exactly.
You cannot have a TV commercial for a prescription drug in other countries.
Why is that?
Because I think they also have their healthcare system. The government is the one buying these things. The government is the one paying for these things. We're here capitalizing on insurance systems.
Exactly.
What is it called? Payback systems. And this kickbacks that go to the doctors. I mean, it's illegal. You know, every company that I've worked for, and I've worked for a few pharma companies, they don't allow any types of bribes, all these things, blah, blah, blah. But it happens.
All the time. I mean, it's ill. And then they sell it to you in a luxurious way. You know, you'll see a dude, he's supposedly dying from AIDS, but he's running through the field having fun. Like, the shit is a joke.
This shit is fire.
Yeah. Like, yo, and nobody seeing nothing wrong with this stuff. It's like,
That's true.
This is really happening.
Yeah.
Then they telling you all the side effects. Yo, one side effect might be you might want to commit suicide. You get a suicidal thought.
Law.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, call a doctor. It's like, what the f? So now you gotta, you know what I mean? So so that's what I'm saying. It's impossible to avoid what we would refer to as this negative aspect, because the system itself is negative. It's already there because it's already telling you like, yo, it's doggy dog out here. And it's
the street is,
it's like, yo, but even in the workplace, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Dude would be like, yo, he like, all right, well, you might say, damn, I don't want to deal with the bureaucracy of the room, right? So I ain't going to the holiday party. I'm just gonna do my job and go home.
Yeah.
When this dude is in his crib saying like, I'm about to go to the holiday party and speak to every manager there is possible. So now you coming in thinking, no, it's just about the work, but it ain't. Because now you like, yo, she don't even be showing up. See, she don't even with none of us in here. And then you
it's
like, the promotion come up and they like, nah, we gonna give it to him. And you like, hey, this dude don't be doing the work. It's
visibility.
Like, nah, he pissed in everybody's ear about you last week when your ass ain't show up. You know what I'm saying?
What it is. It's visibility. You have to be in the state where the leaders are. You have to be in the office where the leaders are. They hear your name, and it's not about your work. You can do bare minimum and literally know everyone. And I have played that game. Let me tell you, I'm a coach in that game. I will show up for every event. I will, because I know that's what people like. That's what people want to see.
That's a fact.
And it's unfortunate, but you don't, like in corporate, you don't get promoted for your work mostly. You get promoted for your non-work.
Yeah, because all of the other roundabout shit. That
you have to schmooze everybody.
Yeah, you do.
But going back to your experience and everything, you know, obviously we live in a capitalistic economy, and even the big pharma companies are thugs. Like that's what they're doing. But there's been criminalization of
everything
may I call
else.
it street pharma,
Mhm.
right? There's been a lot of criminalization, and right now we're seeing a lot of decriminalization and everything. Talk to us about your journey
In regards to what?
in regards to your experience with that.
With that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was, and it's ill with myself is that I wasn't never a kid that was like hurting for things, you
Yeah.
know. But I was always a person that just, like I said, being in this type of system, you just want more. Nothing is ever good enough. One thing is never just good. You can't just have one car. You need 10. You know what I'm saying? You can't just have one Jordan. You need the other color, and then the
Consumerism.
other color, and then the other
Consumerism.
color. You
It's-
need all of that, right?
Mhm.
So now, if my mother is only able to buy me one shoe a month, I need 3 shoes that month.
Yeah.
So I'm like, so the only way I know how to go out here and be able to afford the stuff that I want, because I'm like, yo, this is what the chicks like. You know what I'm saying? This and this is what I'm doing. I want to look good. I want to feel good. It's like I want to wear my self-esteem on my back. So, and on my feet, you understand me? So my journey was that. That's what pushed me to go out there and do things like sell drugs and so forth and so on. At the same time now, as me coming into understanding and have more knowledge of myself, I also see the negative effects and aspects that that is having on the community. But at the same time, now me being a little bit, out of that, coming out of that, I also understand that I don't necessarily condone drug selling, but I don't condone starving either.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And that's just what it is, because if they telling us right now that they don't even have jobs for you, they saying this now, right? They like, yo, it ain't enough. All right, so and then you could tell a kid like, yo, just go to school, bro. All right, but if he getting evicted Monday, what is that going to do for him right now? You go be in a homeless shelter? Never been there. Shit like jail. They just stealing your stuff. People in there fighting each other and all that. Cut like you on Rikers Island and that. So it's like, so it's just weird. So it's like, that's where I was at with it. I always was like, yo, shit ain't right. But at the same time, it's like,
What's
I
the
ain't forcing
alternative?
them to do nothing either.
And
I
it
guess
was
that's your
lucrative.
rationalization of it. Is like you trying to rationalize what you're doing.
And
like,
it was
well,
lucrative.
right? And it's lucrative, and you like, well, I ain't making them come down here. You know what I'm saying?
Tell me about the morality part of it. So you're doing that, and then you see folks coming to you, and you see them in all different types of conditions while they're coming to you, and you know their life story because they're from the neighborhood.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel, given the fact that you were raised with all these morals and values?
You know what?
You know?
Some of them might help. Some dudes. It's a crackhead that I see all the time.
A drug user.
Right, a drug user, right? Yeah, a drug user, right? And I see him all the time, and he comes to me and he thanks me like, yo, you really helped me get off it.
Yeah.
Because man would sit and talk in the building for hours. He was, he was like a person that would go and find other drug users for me. Right, but me and him would have to be sitting in there together, because it was at a time I didn't even know what I was doing. He was just teaching me like, yo, you got it, but let me show you how to, you know what I mean? And we worked something out between me and him. But as me and him sat and spoke hours and hours and hours, it was about him getting off, about him doing better.
Yeah.
So even when I see him now, he like, yo, he give me a hug because he like, yo, you really helped me get off.
That's beautiful.
So
there's two sides to it. A lot of times
course.
what we do is demonize people who've sold drugs. And it's so interesting to me because I know people who sold drugs and I'm like, these guys aren't demons.
No.
Like, it's the weirdest thing because you have a different relationship with them. This is just an aspect of what people are doing. But the same way, like you said, we're demonizing people who are selling drugs, but then we also don't demonize the pharma companies who literally
sell
put
drugs.
Yeah.
They're doing the same thing. I mean,
They just have the government
what is
in
the
their
difference
pocket,
between
the laws in their pocket.
What is the difference between heroin and Oxycontin?
I mean, it's controlled, right?
It's like, because you see people once they can't get Oxycontin, what they do? The first
They
thing
go to heroin.
They go to heroin.
Yeah.
Because it's the same. It's the same feeling.
Yeah.
You're getting the same high.
Well, think
So
about
you're like, damn.
Did you guys
I could substitute this.
hear about the Purdue family?
Yeah. What about
Tell us
something
more.
recent?
Tell us
The
more.
Yeah, it was maybe a few years ago.
Okay.
What they did was they were making opioids, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is pay doctors to actually get people addicted in the
Right.
Midwest. And
I seen
most
that,
the people that were affected were white people.
White people, yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
So then they figured a way to get some kind of circular economy where they also make the drugs that wean you off of it.
Yeah.
So you got the addicts, you got the ones who
doing
don't
that right
want
now.
it.
It's
And
like-
it kept going. And then this family that is worth $15 billion,
Right.
I think ended up having to pay, I don't know, less than 500 million.
Right. And it's ill
In
because
fines.
they doing it now. It's like they'll take you from, all right, you're on heroin. And they say, okay, to get you off heroin, they're giving you methadone. And then the methadone is also addictive too. Then you hooked on methadone.
And then
It's
they wean you
back
off.
into the same, it's like you back in the same cycle.
Well,
it's weird.
it's
Like,
not-
There's
It's
more controlled.
Yeah.
And there's clinical trials that have proven a lot of that.
And it saves lives.
It
Methadone
does.
saves lives. Suboxone saves lives. These are medicines that save life. However, when people are in pain, right?
do
Right.
anything.
That's why they start using
Yeah.
they have
You know what
pain,
I'm saying?
various types of pain for whatever reason, whatever they've been through, whatever. And so they want to numb themselves. Numbing feels good.
Right.
Then you need a substitute,
yeah.
right? Because you can't just take it away.
yeah,
like the
now you need
body.
something else. Yeah, you
Yeah,
need
the
something
body
else.
needs
Yeah.
it.
That's common in your line of work too, right?
Yeah.
You get to see that quite a bit.
I see that a lot in
Right.
addiction medicine. That's
Or
what
like
I've
when
been
they
doing.
were saying with the Oxycontin at first, originally they were saying it wasn't addictive.
Yeah.
They say it was supposed to be an opioid that wasn't addictive. Now, how is that even possible? I don't
How's
know.
that even possible?
I don't know, but that's what they was pushing.
Yeah, and they will incriminate, Black and brown people a lot more. They'll incriminate
Of
everyone
course.
else. So I think there is also the stigma around demonizing. Again, just going back to demonizing
Yeah.
selling drugs.
Yeah.
A lot of it is really sits in the Black and brown community.
Oh, of course. I mean, because you got to think about it. If you brought a person here for labor as a labor force, then you would never want him to be outside of that labor force. So it's like if you come here and the Native Americans you find in here, you enslave them, and then it's like, okay, well, they're dying off. We gave them smallpox because you're going to war with them because you're invading armies. So now you invaded somewhere else, another continent, Africa, or whatever, and you bring them here for labor. Then you get to a point where you have a war over this thing, and then you got to free them. But now you got to find another clever way to place them back into this same
Some sort of enslavement.
Right.
Yeah.
So now
It's mental enslavement.
Right. But you hide it, but it's ill because then you do things like, okay, so if you got the 13th Amendment that says, you're supposed to be free, but it also says unless you committed a crime. So literally you place back into slavery through criminalization.
Servitude through criminalization.
Right. So
yes.
it's like, so now if you look at pictures from Angola prison right now, it's still white men on horseback and people out there picking cotton right now.
Yeah.
This is not like a thing like that's not happening. This is
Yeah.
going
That is
on.
so-
Or you working for
It's primitive. It's very primitive.
So now you do that. They would started locking people up on vagrancy laws, saying things like, "Oh, if you in a area where you can shop at, you got to have at least $2 in your pocket to show that you should be here. If you don't, then you're vagrant. Now I can lock you up."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You do things like that. So when you're saying that about the criminalization, you're talking about the people that was always supposed to just be a free labor force. So now
Yeah.
you got companies
or low wage labor force
shoot,
at
they
some
damn near
point.
paying you nothing. If
Right.
you're getting a person 10 cents, they might as well be a slave. 15 cents, you in there working for stamps.
And I think that's also
And you probably made just furniture.
you bring up a good
You
point.
know what I'm saying? Like,
You bring up a good point because I think people act like Black people just had it made and then they decided to make bad choices.
right.
But
That's another thing, too.
ultimately, the systemic oppression that has been happening, and even if you think about it, like even the 80s, right? When the crack epidemic was
Right.
really taking off and everything.
Right.
Were there jobs really? Because segregation in schools stopped 20 years
Right.
prior.
Right.
So now you're not even talking about 20
Right.
years of having a pool that has had the education to get you even these blue collar
Exactly.
unionized jobs.
Right.
And
And
then
they block you out of them.
they do. And then they pay you less. To this day,
Still
day,
do.
minorities.
Yeah, you still fighting
there
for the
is
same.
a wealth gap in the
Huge.
And it's so ill because now you
Huge
got
wage gap.
And it's the thing that you said too about them acting like you just made poor choices
Yeah.
with your money. This is the same things they saying now.
Correct.
You know, they saying things like, "Oh, you know why you don't
own homes.
you don't own a home
Yeah.
because you bought Jordans."
Yep.
You know, "Oh, you just wanted a chain." You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's like, then they tell you things like, oh, you're supposed to pull yourself up by your own bootstrap. But if you really think about that analogy, can you grab your boots and lift yourself in the air right now? You can't even do that. So the analogy itself is so flawed because it's like, you can't even do that in real life. So
Yeah.
it's like, how's the analogy inapplicable to reality?
Yeah.
It's like, bro, that don't make no sense.
Correct.
So, and everybody else done got ahead through governmental help and aid, land grabs and things like that, right? So now, if you block these people from getting these things, it was like the movie, The Winter Soldier, right? And it was about the black dude coming into being Captain America, right? Well, before he was Captain America, he's the Winter Soldier, right? So he's fighting for the country. He's fighting for the country. He's like a superhero protecting the country and stuff like that against all these invading armies and things, right? So he goes to his sister owned a boat. They family owned a boat and they was using it for like fish and things. They was fishing so they could come back and make a market and basically working for themselves in that manner, right? But the sister couldn't pay no more. They couldn't afford it. So she like was defaulting on her loan on the boat, right? So now he goes to the bank with her. He sits down and he says, hey, you know, we trying to get a loan. It's my family, da-da-da. So he like to the bank guy, he asks him like, yo, you know, can I see, you know, some, you know, money coming in, collateral, whatever, right? In order to secure this loan. So he like, hey man, I'm the Winter Soldier. He telling him, as he telling him, he denied him. And he said, I'm the Winter Soldier. He said, nah, I know who you are. And still didn't give him no loan. So this went out here as a superhero. He's dying for the country.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, this is a movie, but it's funny because it's literally, this is
reality.
what's going
It's so
on.
ironic.
reality.
You know what I'm saying?
You're like, are you serious?
Damn, like Captain America
Yeah.
can't.
So yeah,
That's crazy.
So what's you know, we really focus on this show about mental health, right?
Right.
That's
right.
one of
So
our favorite things that we love talking about.
We love.
And because of your like history with like, you know, just being introduced to a very rough lifestyle, right? Just even being a part of that world, selling drugs, and then probably touching the criminal justice system at some point.
Right.
Talk to us about like incarceration,
Right.
and even like how that has impacted your mental health, and you know, the pandemic, obviously that has impacted folks as well. But let's talk about more about just where you're at in reference to like all that happening to you, all that trauma, all these different layers of trauma, and still surviving it, still doing music, still, you know?
Basically, I get what you're saying, still surviving and thriving. I get that. I'll say this, you know, we're all, I don't know nobody who's not destroyed mentally. I don't know anyone, especially when everything is about making sure you have somewhere to stay. Every month you live in check to check, you know. It's a survival thing, you know. So when you're surviving, it mentally destroys you because you don't have no, you know, it's like money, you know how they say money doesn't bring happiness, but it affords you to have the ability to be happy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
When you don't have it, you just, you kind of just, you in a you know, you're in a hamster wheel. You just, you know what I mean? And with that is destruction. So now it goes back into the prison system, right? Because now you like, well, I'm trying to get off this wheel. But now you placing yourself with another wheel, and now they got you in this entrapment here. You go to prison, you working, they're in there for free. You know what I mean? And all these other corporations and places, they making all this money like Walmart and all these other places where the goods and services are turning up. Now, it's talking to my man here. You know, he talks about it all the time after him doing all that time in prison. And he says, yo, he saw a dude kill himself.
Yeah.
And the other people in the prison looked at that guy as being weak because he killed himself. But he realized and said to himself that, hey, this guy's the only sane person because he done realized this is insanity. And he can't be here. Now we done made it okay for ourselves. See, so now if you put that same dude back on the street and they telling you, well, within this next 6 months, we need you to get a job, we need you to find a place to stay.
And nobody wants to hire you when you've been incarcerated.
You got to go through all of that process, you know. I know my cousin right now, you know, he just came home not too long ago, maybe about 6 months ago. Effie even got 6 months on. he can't even take the train because he like, yo, it's so many people moving, it's so many things
The
going
PTSD.
on. Right, the PTSD. You know, my uncle, when he came home, he was, you know, he would go crazy if you was to like stand behind him. Like if he was in the chair and you would just come and just stand behind, he would go crazy because he's like, yo, don't stand behind me because it's the prison. But these are the people they just putting back out into the world too.
Without therapy.
Without therapy, without anything. I think, you know, so you know, those things, and seeing my people going through these things, dealing with the heartache and pain of trying to like, you know, keep their spirits up while they're in there, you know, because you become forgotten.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people don't have nobody to send you a package, send you a book to read, you know, send you these things to try to keep you going. You got to find something in there, you know. And I know even like for my mother, man, so many of my family members did so long bids, you know. I'm talking 30 years and things like that. And, you know, my uncle, he like just came home from doing 37 years, right?
Federal or state?
State. So he did all that time. And, you know, my mother, when he came home, she was like, that's it for me. Like, this is my last person.
Imagine.
My last jail bid that I'm doing. It's over. You know what I mean? So and she done did everything. Write letters, trying to get, you know, trying to help him get out. So all of these things it's
traumatizing for everyone involved.
Very, very. It's like just because when one person goes to jail, if you truly care for that person, you also went to prison with them. You know what I mean? You're dealing with that too.
Yes, even for the folks that may not stay in contact with you, they're suffering.
Yeah.
You know, just not having you around. Yeah. They might not. They might deal with it differently. They might not be as present.
You're definitely touched. You're right.
Right?
Yes.
But they're just as damaged by the fact that you're no longer there. And this is like time that's being lost when we only have limited time on this planet, right? Most of us 70 years, and look at what we're doing. Look how many lives we're destroying because of this perceived concept of you did some harm, you did something wrong. And it's, you know, it's the morals and the judgment and all of that that's part of that system. And I respect the criminal justice system, right? So I'm not challenging that, but it's just harmful to see. And then it's harmful that someone like you and so many other folks are being impacted, and then you don't get any help.
Right. I mean, shoot, they don't. I mean, you can't even expect it to come because you look how many war vets are homeless.
Have you ever, attempted to like get therapy? Like I'm talking about
like
legit,
like formal therapy.
Therapy.
I never got formal therapy. No. But I was, like for myself, I'm more of a person that like, okay, through studying and understanding things, I can understand where my own hiccups are at. And, and that's why I can sit here and say I'm messed up mentally because it's certain things I'm just not going to do because of the things that my own, you have
triggers,
have, right? And then I think the key is to understanding those triggers, and honestly dealing with them and knowing that when you're going through the process of a person who was triggered. So I think to some degree, you kind of learn to like, I guess it was to say to numb yourself or to see understanding in every action, and don't blame nobody else for it but yourself because you place yourself in all these things. You have that control and power over yourself to,
Well, the power of the mind is beautiful. But, there's this book that I was reading that one of my old supervisors gave me, and it's called Your Brain. It's amazing. I'm going to let you look at that book.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's so incredible is because it talks about how all of us, no matter who you are, there's nothing wrong with you. That's another thing that we have to rethink, right? When we think about mental health. There's nothing wrong with any one of us. It's just situations that were put in that causes us to react a certain way.
Right.
Sometimes it's with anger, depression. I spent a significant amount of time working on Rikers Island, and I was a therapist. I wasn't like incarcerated, but I would come home and I would be so angry and I would like yell at people. I would get into arguments, and I wasn't getting therapy even though I was supposed to, because when you're providing therapy, you're also supposed to be
Right.
getting it. And I was triggered and I was angry and I was like very aggressive.
You
And
taking their things home with you.
their energy,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so I can imagine that when you went through that, right? You brought that back with
course.
you somehow, right? And then I want to ask you, like, why do you think more men don't get therapy, don't get help, don't
know.
ask for help?
I think because I honestly feel like you don't. First, you got to identify you have a problem.
Or you have an area that you need
Right,
assistance with.
Yeah.
Right. So until you do that, you can't. And the average person is walking around saying that I'm all right. So
Yeah.
no one's honestly, male or female, no one is sitting around, it's extremely difficult to get someone to see, hey, you're doing it again. You know what I'm saying? Because your ego kicks in, and you're like, oh no, that's not what's happening. It's like, I don't want to say his name, but you see a guy for a whole week straight say 2 years ago said he had bipolar. Now he's saying he's autistic, and now he's saying, no, I'm not bipolar. No, I'm not going through nothing.
Yeah.
No, I might be a little bit autistic today. It's like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But he admitted last time. It's the ego. Your ego starts to protect your brain from,
Yeah.
you know what I mean, going through that process. So that's why people don't want to go get no help, because they like, help? Well, I don't need no help. Ain't nothing happening to me.
And also
I'm good.
culturally,
It's like,
culturally in
ain't
our
shit wrong with me.
communities,
Yeah.
when we admit that we need help, it's almost sometimes looked at as, oh, they're crazy.
Yeah.
And there's a negative
Yeah,
connotation
that's true too.
on it. Even like
Yeah.
for me, when I first told my family that I was going to start doing therapy, they didn't like dog me out or anything, but it was almost like, yo, you good? Like it was,
Right.
they were really
Right.
legit worried about me to the
Yeah.
point like they
think you about to hang up,
they
yeah.
overloved on me on some
Yeah.
like, is this some shit we can't fix?
Right.
Like you're going through some white people shit?
Right, and they like, yo, you about to go home and hang it up. About to
Like,
slit your wrist.
yo,
today.
they
It's like,
literally
Yeah.
probably thought I would
Yeah.
jump from a building.
Right,
I mean,
right.
and they loved on me harder, and but it wasn't about me
Right.
being loved on. Like the
Right.
love was always there, but we
Right.
always we have some things that we ruminate on. Our minds just kind of go on, and you're like, at some point, it's kind of like, for me, the way I see therapy is, I'm not gonna do my oil change because I don't want to learn to do my fucking oil change.
Right.
And so I have somebody do my oil change.
Right,
I'm not gonna
right.
do my nails.
Right. You
So
go get
now,
some nail tech. Right.
I don't feel like doing my problems anymore. So I'm gonna have somebody do my problems. And and therapy is like vitamins. I that's how I see it. I
how
don't
you
see
get
it
it,
as
yeah.
ICU. I don't see it as a life-saving drug. I don't see it as a life-altering anything. I see it as vitamins. Even times when you're not going through it, going through therapy is helpful, because you're doing a lot of what I do with my therapist on your own.
On my own, yeah.
Where you're able to identify your triggers.
Yeah.
You understand when you have a threat response. So you know what positions to put yourself
Yeah,
in
definitely.
and everything, right? So it is, a lot of times you could read, you could learn a lot of these
Right.
things. So I think everyone has their own choices as to how they plan to work their mind or engineer their mind.
Yeah, I think because when you study in psychology, you could identify, like, wait, that's me right there. I be doing that,
So let's talk about that.
Yeah, you can-
Let's
you
talk
can do
about that.
Yeah.
What are some things you identified about yourself that you were like, Because I know it's similar to, I'm sure it might be similar to what a lot of other males
I don't know.
you know.
I think I had a lot of,
experience.
through my experience, I had a very bad anger issue at a time. I also understood that I, like, due to me going through all of these different studies and thoughts and things like that, it made me kind of be very insensitive to other people's.
Yeah, you were desensitized.
Right. You know what I mean? So I understood that. Now, that affects other people.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? Because you make a person feel like you don't care.
Yeah.
you know?
Yes.
And so
yes.
I also know and understand that for myself, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing, like even in being like in relationships with women, it's difficult because I like to be by myself. I like to be
alone
on my own. You know what I mean? Doing my own thing. That's
and
difficult.
so women find that difficult.
Yeah, it does, because it's like okay, so are you saying you don't want to be around me? And then that makes you feel weird because wait a minute, he should, right? Like,
yeah.
But I'm telling you, no, this is just me, because I understand me. I understand how doing this helps me. You know?
Yeah.
So it's also a level of selfishness there as well.
Is that a trauma response, the isolation?
It can be, but for me, not really. It's like when you understand yourself, you know the things that help you be a better version of you.
Okay.
You know? And if isolation for some days is make you a better person, then do that.
And let's even take the word isolation out of it, because sometimes it's even how we feed it into our subconscious mind.
Right.
Sometimes it's just alone time, because
Exactly.
isolation
Right.
almost seems inflicted.
Right.
And the way we
right.
use words,
That's
I think,
true
is
too.
very important.
That's very
so in like, I love alone time so much so that when I went to Thanksgiving to visit my family, I got a hotel. They didn't like it.
Right, because you like, I could just go back here.
I can
come
go
here,
back and forth,
chill, and then go back, and I can sit. Right,
Yeah.
see, I'm like that too.
Yeah.
I don't like alone time. If you don't want to spend time with me, you don't care about me.
Right, see, that's what I'm saying. And that's what I'm saying. That's what the understanding.
See what I'm
of,
saying? Like, what? Oh
That's
my
what I'm
God.
saying. That's
We
what
can be alone
understanding-
together.
See, exactly.
And that's the
And that's
thing.
what happens right there.
That's the thing.
And
You
it's
don't-
like, nah, I don't want that. It's like, oh, you pushing me away. Then it's
Yes.
another anger. You know what I mean?
You-
That's what I'm saying.
and maybe it's just a matter of even explaining who you are in the beginning, because for me, to be honest,
Right,
I don't even know that I could move in with
Anybody.
a life partner
Me either.
unless we have two
can't do
separate
it.
bedrooms
No, we
on
need
two
I
different
need
parts
a whole new house.
of the house,
yeah, I
or
need
maybe
all
we
the
live
house.
across the street from each
Yeah, I
other.
can do that. I
Or
can
we
do
live,
that. Yeah.
in apartments across
Yeah,
from each
that's
other.
a
Maybe
fact.
we have like a wall
That's a
that
fact.
we've broken where we can access each other's
I like
apartment.
that. I could do that one. The
But,
broken wall.
Yeah.
thing.
It's like,
see?
after you've lived so long,
Yeah. By yourself.
kind of in your own autonomous mind state, it's very hard to incorporate someone else and share life with. And not because you don't want to, but because you operate in a certain way.
That's my whole point. Yeah.
But I think it's important to have that conversation and let them know it has
tried that.
nothing to do with you.
I tried that.
It doesn't work.
No, it don't work.
Yeah,
It
if
does
you
not
got
work.
a wahida,
Yep. That's
They
right.
like, no.
You want alone
It
time
can't
for
be
what?
like this. Oh, you probably, you know.
Oh, it's someone else
Yeah,
with that
yeah.
alone time,
It's
huh?
like, nah, I'm just trying to chill and come back. Especially for me, I need to miss you.
yeah.
I like to, miss the person. So it's easier for me to go somewhere else to live and come back, and you can do it like that.
But sometimes, like,
What they call them, military wedding,
Oh my-
military marriages. Yeah,
True.
I need one of those.
That's that
sometimes
PTSD, man.
you really, really vibe with someone so much that you miss them the moment they walk out the
Right.
door.
That's me.
Right.
But that's also codependency.
Yeah.
It
You know,
is.
that's like my codependent
Yeah.
personality, but I'm very selective. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
codependent with anyone.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like one human being
Yeah.
out of
right,
like,
that you really like.
correct.
Like, nah,
And
I
that's
need-
very
I need
rare.
you
Yeah.
here.
No,
Yes.
I love my solitude, so I'm with
Right.
you. Sometimes I will literally just, have an edible or what,
Right, like, I'm just
however
chill
I'm
right
gonna
here.
get to the clouds
Mhm.
and get a canvas, play some music, and just paint.
he could be holding your paint for you while you like.
No,
That's the
see?
thing.
Yo.
You gotta be in your vibe. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, solitude is such a beautiful thing. And that's why when I'm around people, everyone thinks I'm such a social butterfly.
Yeah.
But I'm really not. But I will give you all the energy because
Right.
I've spent 3 days solo and not depressed.
Right now,
Not because I'm depressed.
right now, I'm ready to come out. Right,
Now I'm
exactly.
like, wait, you guys, we're
Right.
going home? What do you mean? We're
Right, no,
outside.
let's chill. We here because you like, I done been in the crib. But see, but that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying about I need to miss you. Because then I might come with you and stay a whole weekend, chill. Then I might be like, I'm going to go home.
So you got
do
to
my
do a
thing,
screening. You got to do a screening and you got to ask the right questions, right?
Definitely.
So that's now we've learned one of
Mhm.
your biggest things to having a successful relationship for you is
Mhm.
Your
alone time.
solitude. Yeah.
Solitude.
Yeah, definitely.
Something else.
Definitely.
Give us something else.
Definitely. I don't know, I need you, like, for a partner wise.
Partner wise.
Okay. I would need a person who's willing to study. Or it doesn't matter what it is.
So
I
intellectual.
I need to see you reading.
Mm.
Because and not fictional,
Correct, yeah. That's
fictional
meaningless.
novels.
You're
like
talking history, self-help.
right, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because I think those things allow you to understand when you're wrong.
Yeah.
And that you can be wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I think that's a big part of learning, especially when you're dealing with your brain in regards to taking the information and learning things. It gives you you get to see perspectives and so on, and from different angles. So that's another thing. And if you're not that person, being able to sit and learn from a person, because that's another thing too. I've witnessed that people think when you're teaching them something, they turn that into manipulation. It's like, oh, you're trying to manipulate me. It's like, no, I'm just trying to explain to you, this is where where you're not right at from this.
And sometimes that's a trauma response from them because of their past manipulation.
Right. Because now you're like, oh, no. You somebody trying to do something wrong to me, But, so I can't trust anyone, That's what they say, but we could go talk about that. That's false. But anyway.
So you need someone that's really a student of life.
Yeah, because it's important to me. I'm that way, so I kind of need you to be the same way.
Yeah.
So that we don't keep getting stuck. And we can also, all right, it's like you said, right? Okay, you're a person that's like, yo, I kind of want you there all the time, right? But when you are studied enough, like you're saying, right? If you study psychology enough, then you also see that, wait a minute, maybe in the compromise, I say, okay, boom. All right, you do 2 days here by yourself, but you come back here for XYZ amount of, and learning that is ability of saying, okay, I need you to be the best you can possibly be. And if
you
that
could do that in the basement. You could do that in your man cave.
See, it's just hard because now you're in the man cave.
I'm not gonna come down there.
And then it's like, hey, you've been down there for about.
So you want to be unreachable?
Yes, I want to be able to say I walked out of here. Because sometimes I'm not gonna lie, when you're around somebody just. I think most marriages end because you're there every single day.
Well, pandemic showed us that.
Oh my God, people was fighting. People that was together, you realize they didn't even like each other.
Yep, that's right.
You're like, this the whole time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
You found out we can't really cook. You like, damn, we can't cook.
You know what
we've been eating takeout the whole time. I just realized that.
You know what's crazy? I saw this short, a YouTube short about back in the day. What would happen is a husband leaves the house and goes to work, and his wife goes to work as well. And all day they don't see each other. All day they have no idea what went on in each other's day, right? Then they come home. They have so much to talk about. These days, your husband or your wife saw your photo of what you wore on Instagram. Man, they know what you ate. They know who you were hanging out with. You were likely texting each other all day.
It's too much.
So there's that. And then when you talk about why relationships worked better than, and I'm not talking back in the day. I'm talking like when both parents were working. A lot of it was the mystery of what was happening.
Right, you get to ask them, hey, how was your day?
How was your day?
Right.
Because now you don't have to depend on their story to say, my boss is so irritating.
Right.
Or I'm skipping lunch to get my nails done.
Right.
It's a surprise. Your husband comes home and is like, oh, you got your nails done. I really like that outfit. Or I'm going to keep my outfit on so that when my man comes, he can see it. Because he doesn't have access to your day and you don't have access to his day.
That's true.
I like that.
Yeah, that's
I like that.
Yeah.
Manolo, do you ever post girls on your social media? You don't seem like that type.
No,
You don't seem like that type.
Nah, not no woman that I'm actually dealing with.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't.
Isn't that interesting? Because I kind of do the same thing. The man that I'm interested in or like dating
Right.
or like even, intimate with,
Right.
he'll never be on my social media. It'll be
Yeah.
random people
Right.
all over the social media. You'll be like, wow, she knows so many males.
Right.
None of them are like prospects.
Right.
I would like to, but a lot of times I'm always on that teetering edge of if he doesn't repost me, I'm blowing up his car. So no, I'm
Wait,
kidding,
why?
I'm kidding, I'm
Why,
kidding, I'm
though?
kidding,
That one
I'm
left
kidding.
fast.
But you know what I mean? So I'm usually so nervous of the shameful. I don't know. Like I really don't know. I'm too prideful to even ask, like, is this something we're doing? And then a lot of times you're dealing with people who've never posted anyone. Or
Yeah, that's me.
you know what I mean? And also, do you want to be posted? Especially because a lot of times we're having situationships and everything. It's really not a lot of established relationships. It's just a lot of gray area there that to the
Yeah.
point where for me, I'd rather not even think about it or be involved. But sometimes I feel bad and I'm like cutting someone off a picture and they were there with you
Yeah.
and you're cutting them off because you're posting with whoever else you were with. And then you wonder, like, do they feel some type of way? Would
Right,
they have been
right.
okay with me
I've
posting
seen
it?
that too because I went through that too before.
Tell us
Yeah.
about that.
A girl felt like that maybe I thought she wasn't pretty enough,
Oh, I'm sorry
you
about
know,
that.
or like I didn't understand it because it's like if I'm here with you, then I'm already. But maybe to them, there's something else. I don't know.
Women are very critical
Right.
of ourselves, so you got to take that into
Right.
consideration.
I just felt it was weird because it's like if I'm already with you, then I already believe you are. Right?
Yeah.
So that was one thing. But then I also went through things where it's like, why aren't you posting me?
Yeah.
But you posted this you in this club taking pictures of this random girl.
Yeah, it's always random.
And it's like you posted that, why not me? And it's like my question is always, why do you need that?
Why do you need that social media validation?
I don't know. Like that's the scary part to me.
Yeah.
Is the why. Like why do you need that?
I think
don't know.
also a lot of times, to be honest, with men, and all just the cheating and all the things that happen, especially like in our communities and everything, I think a girl knows that she's your girl when you're able to publicly claim
Acknowledge
her.
her.
Yeah.
I don't think it has to do with I want to be posted because I'm pretty or whatever. I think a lot of it has to do with the fact
Let
that
the world know.
like
you got a girl.
if I'm your
That
your
I'm
girl, and this is what you're doing, then go for it.
yeah, but
What do you think about that?
I don't know because I never seen that stop no cheating. I never seen a person say, "Oh, I ain't gonna cheat because I posted my girl last week." Like
Yeah.
nah, like ain't no dude running around here thinking like that.
That's true.
It's like you're not so that's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so for me, it's like anytime I would ever get into those type of discourse about that type of thing, I will always try to express it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Nothing. And I think that's what I'm saying. It goes back to your, like you mentioned earlier, your own ego, your own pride, because you thinking everything that he or she is doing is because, you know what I'm saying? Me.
It is ego.
It's like, no, I'm not doing it not because of you. Like, it don't got nothing to do with whether you're good enough,
Yeah.
bad enough, smart enough, dumb enough. It don't have nothing to do with that. It's
That's
just not
true.
what I'm doing. And like I said, it doesn't stop nor prevent cheating.
It does
don't
not.
stop you. Don't make no girl say, hey, now I don't want to bone him because I saw him with his girls.
Well, it does. There are some girls who are like, listen, I'm not about to do some
They
side
already
rubbish.
knew that. They already knew you had a girl. They knew that. It ain't make no
They
difference.
did know. Well, if they
It
did
ain't make
know.
no difference. You
But
They
gonna
needed
walk
what
back-
they needed.
Right. You still gonna come back to that same situation. She's still gonna be like, all right, this is what we doing.
Yeah.
It is what it is. It don't stop nothing.
It
So-
doesn't stop anything.
So that's what I'm saying. So now, if that's the case, then it's a false illusion that you're giving yourself to say, no, let them know I'm your girl. Because it'll make you stop cheating. When you know in your mind, it ain't making nobody stop a goddamn thing. Remember, be walking back and forth to the store with his girl, his kid, forever, and the chick that he see every day passing him, saying hi to his girl. One day, they
This is
somewhere
true.
slip and
Correct.
fell and
Correct.
Oh,
You know what I'm
baby,
saying?
it's
So
What's that
it's
song?
a false illusion.
Oh, baby,
you know?
baby, it's a wild world.
It's a wild world. You know what's crazy to me is that my perception is a little different, guys, and I am so weird. I don't like posting my partner because I don't like people knowing who my partner is, so that they could like wish, like it could be bad luck. Like I don't want like bad energy or bad vibes in that relationship, you know? So like I don't like posting that person.
I've seen people do that
So
too.
I think about that where I'm like, if it's really important to me, I kind of don't post it.
Yeah.
You know, even with like my son or like my niece or like important moments.
Yeah.
I don't, you know, it'll be birthdays that'll pass and I won't post anything. And it's like, oh, well, this is the public now.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put all of this out there. I don't want to put your report card on there. I don't, because that's your life. And, you know, I don't want someone wishing something bad. So I don't.
Sad we live in a world where people really doing that too.
Right?
Oh,
So
cheat on she.
Right?
All right, now you gonna cheat
so
on
you, you know, you're happy with this person, you love this person, and you guys do have like a really sincere bond.
Yeah.
And then you start telling people about that relationship,
nah,
and now
that's a
people start like throwing negative
little
energy
they
into
do.
the situation,
Oh, you letting them do that?
right?
Oh, it wouldn't have been me.
Correct.
Couldn't be me.
Right,
Couldn't be me.
You start going home screaming at your man like, wait a minute, I'm dumb.
That's me. I'm that friend. It's too many out here.
Yeah, like you gonna let him do that?
Nah, but at the same time, I'm in the same situation doing
Right,
the same.
Oh, that's the funniest thing ever when I see like people. That's why I don't like relationship advice. I don't give no advice. My advice is, yo, do what's best for you. Because I'm not going listen.
Facts.
I'm not going to tell you. Not going to turn around and say, yo, you told me to leave. That's why I left. No.
No, true. But yeah, on
You know
a
what I'm saying?
serious.
And then the dude giving you advice, and his girl doing the same thing. He doing the same.
You know what's
Yeah.
interesting
Go
is
ahead.
that I am a diehard romantic.
Mm-hmm.
So I like, it actually brings me some sort of joy sometimes to feel a little bit of pain in my relationship. So I'm like, oh,
Love is pain.
Oh,
he doesn't
man.
love me enough.
Right.
Oh my
Enough.
God. But then you know he does, but you just gotta be super dramatic. Yeah, so yeah, I'm weird like that, where I like don't like telling people who I'm with. That's
Yeah.
number one. And then number two, I'm always complaining and it's never that big of a deal. So this is a woman thing, I think.
Sometimes, again, like you've seen what Robert Greene says, hot and cold. And that's what sometimes these ninjas like.
Do you like hot and cold?
No.
What keeps you? I think you like stable and grounded.
That's why I'm at.
He
with
likes stable and grounded and knows how to cook.
it. Yes, definitely.
Oh, you throw
Right.
down?
Yeah, I could. Yeah, definitely.
And his partner,
so has to know how to. Yeah, definitely.
correct.
I think I like stable. Like I hate to walk in somewhere and there's an attitude there and I don't even know why the attitude is happening. See, that's the type of shit that start make me want to leave. And see, that's why I be like, I need my own
Isolate.
spot. I need my own spot because it's like we can't do this. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
You know, because I always look at it like I'm not like that. And if you do got an attitude with something else, then say what's going on. with you.
Correct.
Right. See, my whole thing is always just say what's happening. What's
Correct.
happening? What's going
Yeah.
on? Right. So yeah, I don't like you to be like, yo, if I gotta come in here and I
guess?
gotta guess, I'm just gonna completely just bow out. You
I'm
know
the
what
same.
saying?
Like, I'd rather not see you. But then
I'm not
sometimes
doing that
I will
with
be
you.
pissed, and I said this in an earlier episode, and I'm like, I'm talking to him today. Today, we need to have this conversation. And then
Right.
he comes over, and then I completely forget. And then it's like,
Right.
it's been like all these hours of so much fun. I'm like, I'm not fucking up the vibe shit.
Right,
like,
right,
you know
right.
what I
It ain't
mean?
that big of a
That's a
deal.
good girlfriend.
It is, no, it's
That's a good
that big of a
girlfriend.
deal
It's
because
true.
tomorrow he'll get attitude on text messages.
Right, and he just
And he'll be
looking at it
like,
like,
yo,
what happened?
last
Yo,
night
that's happened to me.
was-
Yo, I used to say the same thing. I'm like, yo, we
Like,
just was
last
good.
night
Like, what
was
happened
so
now?
good.
What happened 10 minutes ago? All I did was take a shower and came back. But it's like, see, that's my thing too. My thing is always say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah.
I'm big on that because I've definitely lost relationships. Like, all right, we together for how long, how many years or how many months or whatever, and we going through something and you say things like, I don't think I could do this because it's not because you really want to leave. It's because you're trying to get
a
the
response.
response. See, and my response is always going to be, then okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
it might
We
be
were
foul.
just
We were just
about
talking
that's
about this,
me.
so
Like
I'm gonna let
that's
you
just
take
how I
the
am.
lead. Go ahead, explain that.
Because listen, when you say something to me, I'm gonna say I'm taking it literally.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be sitting over
So
here.
you can't be dramatic.
No, I'm not sitting there with the guessing of, wait, do you really hate me? When you got mad and said, I hate you. Do you really hate me? Because I'm saying you do. Now,
Yeah.
if you say, well, I didn't mean that. Well, then what did you mean?
I hate your behavior.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, so for me, it's like, no, say exactly what you mean. Because to me, right, when I, in any argument I've ever been in with any woman, I don't say things like that. I don't say I hate you.
You know that's how
I
we
barely
are.
even curse. I don't even curse at you.
Yeah.
You feel me? I don't call you out your name. You'll
Same.
never hear me saying bitch and fuck you and none of that. I don't
Yeah.
ever do that.
Yeah.
Because to me, it's like,
Yeah.
no, don't say things while you angry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
ruins
then, no,
everything.
now we not coming back.
Exactly.
From that. You feel
Correct.
me? And so that's just how I am. Like, yo, no, you got it. Whatever you saying, mean it. And if you don't mean it, don't say it. Don't do the, yo, I'm just need a hug today. Say that then. Say, yo, you know what? I need a hug today.
You know, men always
You
say,
know what I mean?
correct. You know, men always say they don't know what we want. And we always say, we don't know what you guys want, right?
True indeed.
So three things. Three
True
things
indeed.
that you feel like if women did more of, we would have more successful outcomes in our relationship.
Wow, man, I just said it. The biggest thing is
Say
saying
what you mean.
Saying what you mean.
Saying what you mean, one.
Right? And
So you're saying be kind and
No.
impeccable with your language. That's one.
yes,
Okay.
yes. You have to be. I think that's, to me, that encompasses everything else, because like I need to understand you, right? I even need to understand whatever I did, how did it affect you?
That's
Not-
major
and
key.
not your like not your bruised emotion or ego, but like what did it really do to you? You know how we say things like, yo, it made me feel some type of way. No, I need to know the type of way you felt.
Man.
You understand what I'm saying? I don't like that, because that's playing word games of it made me feel some, because you don't want to say it made me jealous, because then you say in your head, jealousy means weak. I don't want to be weak, so I don't want to say jealous. I'm just rather say it made me feel some way. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying.
I get triggered when someone tells me it made me feel some type of way. I get triggered, and I want to be the most insensitive person in the
Exactly.
time. And I say, like, and I'll always just apologize and just say whatever that feeling was, they didn't like it, but I lose a small ounce of respect for you.
Right, because I don't even know how you felt.
Every time.
That's
I
not
lose
describing a
respect for
real
you.
feeling. That's not a feeling. You know, I felt some what type of way? What did you feel? You know?
It's
So-
such an ego covering,
Yes.
rubbish, childish way
Yes.
of communicating.
So that part I need
Clarification.
Clarification.
Yeah.
Understood.
Right? Because then that allows me to see how I did, right?
yeah.
What happened to you. But then there's always the middle ground in between that,
Correct.
which is, right? Because like this, right? And I'll give you a prime example. It's like, if I leave a cup on the floor and you come kick it, slip, and you hit your head, I need you to ask, did I put it there purposely for you to slip and fall and hit your head?
Before
Don't hit
you
your
come
head.
and bark.
Right. Before you just get up and go crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, well, I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
So now you really arguing for nothing. You just arguing because you fell. It
That's
ain't
right.
about, you understand what I'm saying? So that clarification it covers all of those things of getting that
Yeah.
out the way.
So the intentions behind all behaviors.
Yes,
Yeah.
behind all behaviors, because you
Okay.
might not even meant nothing bad. You like, it just might have just happened wrong.
Like coming
damn,
home
shit
late.
fucked up.
Like
Yeah.
coming
Right.
home late. The
Right. I
husband
remember
might
one
not.
time I was driving back from, I was coming back from somewhere. I think it was like Texas or some shit like that. But I'm driving back.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking in my head, like, damn, let me not make as many stops so I could get home as fast as I can possibly get home.
That's considerate.
Right? Yeah. Now,
I was going to say,
When
that's
I-
dangerous.
right? But it is, right? You like, yo, I'm
Yeah.
just considerate, right?
Yeah.
You like, I'm gonna
Yeah.
try to get home as fast as I can. So I'm, not speeding, but saying like, when you're on the road, it's like the more times you
too many
stop for
stops.
gas and eat,
Correct.
the more that time.
that thing
Extends.
Right?
becomes
Extends.
exponential.
Okay. So I'm saying that now, as I'm doing that, but when I get there, it's like, I'm angry because you didn't call me and I was worried. Because it speaks to what you said, right? Like, oh, it's kind of dangerous because you like, I don't know where you at.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on. I don't know.
Yeah.
Are you okay? So I'm angry. But in reality, you're not really angry. You were concerned. And then seeing me come here, you realize there was no need. I don't have to be concerned anymore. So now I'm mad. You know what I mean? But instead of saying, yo, I was in fear that something may have happened.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which means that you more likely
Care.
Care.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you could describe that feeling instead of just barking at me, because you barking at me, I'm gonna bark back. Now we having an argument over something that you didn't even mean.
Word.
That's not what it was. It was about you caring. You feel me? And then if you say to me, hey, why you didn't call me? Right? And I give you a response of saying, well, I was trying to get back as fast as possible. So I didn't use my phone. I just left the GPS. I didn't really, only gassed up 3 times or twice. You know what I'm saying? I was really thinking about getting back here. See, you got to be mature enough now to say,
I'm not
I
going
understand
to.
that.
Yeah.
I understand that. It wasn't just because you just didn't want to. You literally was actually thinking about me like I was thinking about
But
you.
isn't there an
Beautiful.
element of
That's
fuckery
beautiful.
in that? It's beautiful. I wanted to get home to you. But my guy, you couldn't have called one time. You couldn't have answered your phone one time.
Well,
you couldn't have told me what was going on
It all
time.
It all depends on the scenario, what's happening on the other person's end.
Yeah.
Because that's what you're not privy to. See, you can have that feeling when you don't have the other side of the information, right?
Yeah.
So if you say, okay, well, I'm using my GPS, it was raining.
That's valid.
You understand
These
what I'm saying?
are
You
all
like, if I
valid.
pick my phone up, I could
Correct.
fuck around and die out here.
Correct.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So,
Correct.
see, that's what I'm saying about, it's about, all right, seeing the other side of that. See, because if you get mad first, you might be wrong and even your whole feeling might be wrong.
I won't get mad anymore. You're right.
Because, I don't know what the hell happened to you over there.
Oh, I'll be
That's true.
tight.
So when you get here, I got to be mature enough to say, yo, what happened? Why you didn't call me?
Yeah.
Because I was worried.
Yeah.
And if you say, oh, I didn't call because I didn't want to use my phone.
Yeah.
And I only gassed up one time and I really just jumped back on the road and tried to get here. It was dark. It started raining.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm going to just let me keep 2 hands on 10 to 2
Yeah.
and not with this phone. Let me just get home to my people.
Yeah.
Right?
That's an extreme case.
No,
which
but
is
what I'm
fair.
saying is
That makes sense,
you don't
though.
know the other side. And
Yeah.
when a person
You don't know what the other person
right, so
is
when
going
a person
through.
explains the other part that
Yeah.
you're not privy to, you have to marry that with your thing and say, I understand why you didn't. Now you can say, but next time, just call me so you can ease some of my pain and worry. And he can say, okay, we don't got to keep fighting no more. That's a done deal. Because it's more about solution based versus I just want to say what my problem is. Because that's what be happening.
That is what be happening.
I watch two people argue back and forth. And then you like,
No solution.
all right, what's the solution here?
They don't want to come to a solution. They just want to argue.
No, and it's like, no, because I want you to understand my point. It's like, damn, is your point more important than us coming to the conclusion?
Yeah.
Yes, in most cases, it is.
About sometimes
It is.
it's literally
Final
about
question
okay.
after you say that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say sometimes for some people it's just literally about winning,
Mhm.
which is you gotta avoid
That's
people
it.
like that.
Now, that's some sick and when you think about it, it's everybody. You ever pull up to somebody at the light and you nudge up a little bit, they nudge up too. You nudge up some more and they nudge up too. And so it's like turn, they go, because they thinking you trying to beat them.
Yeah.
And it's like, nah, something wrong with you to keep thinking that you gotta win.
Correct.
Why you gotta win?
Correct.
Because you don't.
Or why do I have to see? Why do I have to concede to your point?
Because some people that's how they get their validation.
That's
Which
bad,
sucks.
though.
That's a
But
psychological.
that's a them
Yes.
problem. That's
Yes.
not a you problem. So
Yes.
you
and
just
that's
gotta
a
let
therapy
them.
problem.
It
That is a therapy
It is.
problem.
It is.
So
You gotta get out of that.
You had a
That's-
question, a final question.
Final question for all of us.
Ooh.
Quick little
Mhm.
check-in. Have you ever been cheated on? And how did you
Yeah.
find out?
Damn, I found out I was being cheated on. Oh, somebody called me, caught the person cheating.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody was like, yo, show your girl, in here, with some dude. And how did I react?
Mm-hmm.
When I seen her, I spoke to her, I said, well, I didn't even say nothing at that day. Because me, I know, I'm a person that I've always dealt with multiple women. and I'm not a hypocrite. That's one of my biggest pet peeves.
Yeah.
Right? I can't stand hypocritical things.
Exactly.
Right?
I'm doing me,
So,
you do you.
I just, held it in my back pocket as a drawer 4. When the time came, I said, hey, wait a minute, you don't got any legs to stand on here. You was over here, XYZ. I know. But I just told her after that, tighten up. You know what I mean? And saying like, hey, don't get caught. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not a person. I never cared about, because I don't own the one.
Correct.
See, I
I'm
always
learning
come from the perspective of I don't own you.
Yeah.
I didn't buy you unless you was a prostitute and I paid for you.
Yeah.
Then I own you for those next little 3 hours, whatever that cash was paid for. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
But other than that, I don't own you, and you got the right to do whatever the hell you want to do. Now I have the right to react how I'm going to react, right?
Correct.
And there's only 2 reactions you could get from me, and that's leaving or staying. If I'm going to stay, then I ain't saying nothing.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna leave, then I'm gonna say, yo, I can't. I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just saying nothing I ain't never did myself. I've done it multiple times, and this is just me. That's the same thing like going back to when I was saying the girl said to me she couldn't do it. All right, then don't do it. It didn't matter how much I cared about her. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, if you saying that, then all right.
Yeah.
I'm always all right, because my whole thing is this: as long as I could walk away, I'm all right. Only people you can't really walk away from is people you got kids with. You
That's
know what
right.
I'm saying? You got to keep dealing
Or
with
you
them.
could still walk away.
I mean, you got to
but-
be with them, but you got to
Yeah.
still be around them. You still got to
Yeah,
deal
you
with
still
them.
gotta see
Depending on
them.
how the age of the child.
There's
Correct.
a lot more
You know
at
what I mean?
stake.
Yeah, there's a lot more. at stake.
Right. It's more at stake,
Correct.
So, so yes, I definitely been cheated on before. My reaction was exactly how I said it, and maybe even multiple times. Different people, different time, different places. But I always prefer women to cheat a little bit too.
Really? They're happier. When women cheat, they're a little happier.
I do, because for me, it's like, man,
The women that
wanna
don't
go-
cheat, the women that don't cheat be miserable as hell. Trust me, I'm one of them.
So it's like-
I be like, damn, I'm miserable.
right.
I need to
So-
learn. I need to learn.
Right. So my whole thing is always like, nah, do you? So
Do you? So
Shit.
you could be happy
I
too.
might, yeah, because
We
see
can
with
make
me,
this work, baby.
it's like, look, I'm good. Long as you, my whole thing is this though. When I call, just pick up.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I call, I need you. If you got a in your mouth, take it out and say, hey, this is what I'm doing right now. All right, hit me back when you're done. You feel me? Because see, my whole thing, I was always taught, at least even by my mom, is that like, how are you when you with me? That's the only thing I care about. When you with me, is it good over here? Then let it be good, As they say, and you tell them, listen, man, wear condoms, protect yourself. Don't come back here with no disease, and we good. We all right. Because to me, it's like, as long as we good, we good.
Mm-hmm.
When we ain't, when we're not, we just,
And
I
that's a
can't fuck with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I want to come in, I wanted to be peaceful and bliss. Like they say, ignorance is bliss. Yeah, let me stay in bliss. Don't be, it's like you come, don't inform me. I ain't never told I see my man, girl, I'm not calling him.
Yeah.
No, stay in bliss, boy. You can find that out on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I won't be on the, the count
Yeah.
of me.
That's
You know
fair.
what I'm saying?
That's
So
fair.
that's just how I see it.
What about you?
I've been cheated on.
How'd you find out?
Going through phones.
Oh, man.
You went through their phone?
Yeah, I've gone through phones
Some
3
major
times,
privacy
and I
shit.
will never do it again because that is the biggest mind fuck ever. Like it really, really messes with you to the point where you're like, if you love yourself and you suspect someone's cheating, just dip. If you're that bothered, just dip. Don't.
Yo, you ever went through a phone and didn't find nothing?
No.
Or did you make yourself find something? Like,
Every
shit
single
gotta be
time
it.
You found something.
one time I thought this guy was cheating on me and I was like, okay, you're definitely cheating on me and I'm just gonna go through your phone. So what happened is he got a new phone, he left the house, he had his old phone in the house. I knew the password to his old phone.
Oh my God.
Texts are all there. Yo, I found out I wasn't even the main chick. I was a side chick. He had a
that
whole
happened too.
girlfriend. So you know what kind
What
of
if
mind
y'all all was his girlfriend?
huh?
What if all of y'all was his girlfriend?
Nah, there was one.
He might have been a polygamist.
There was one that he loved.
There's a lot of them now.
mean, he loved her in ways that he didn't love me.
Oh,
and
okay,
here
okay.
I was thinking like he's cheating on me. So yeah, then
was
another
really cheating on
time
her.
he was
Did you
really
blow him
cheating
up?
on her.
Did you?
No, I didn't say anything. I just
Oh, you just dealt with him.
I ended it with him. I guess now you're gonna know it's you. But I literally just told him, yo,
It's you, buddy.
there's something about your energy that's really like not feeling right.
Made up
And
some
he's like,
bullshit.
yo, what happened? And that's how I ended it with him. And he was so confused. And for a while, he's like, yo, Fuza, what happened? And I was just like, it's your energy. My guy, I went through your phone and all the shit you confessed later, I had been known. I mean, let me just say it on the camera because he's going to watch this. He's been watching
crazy.
everything.
Oh my
But
God.
yeah, I've been cheated on and whatever. And I've also been cheated on and found
Have you
something
ever cheated?
where I made a decision to not say anything because I asked myself, are you willing to leave him for this?
Right.
And I said no, and I said I'm not going to bring it up.
See,
It's done.
I understand
But have I
that.
ever cheated emotionally? Yes.
I ain't too much emotional.
I've never ever stepped out with my body on a man.
That's so nice.
So you tell us before we close.
So my
Close
story.
us off with your story.
Oh my God, my story is I dated a heartless person. He was so heartless. And he told me, he was like, yeah, I cheated on you. And I started crying because, I was so like innocent.
Yeah.
I was so innocent. I started crying. And then he said, but I always picked up your call every time. I always picked up
Right.
your calls. And I
Right.
was like, at the time, I was like, oh my God, I can't be with anyone else, because I'm a hopeless romantic. And then eventually, I remember him like begging to get back together. And I said to him, I don't love you anymore. You don't got to text me no more. I don't want you. And it felt great.
Yeah, you don't break up with them in your pain. You break up with them 6 months prior. Because, okay, no toxicity. Let's end
Right.
this on a positive
good
note.
note.
We would love to thank Manolo Rose
Amazing. Right,
for
thank
gracing us with your presence. I feel like we could have talked for another hour.
Oh, definitely.
You're such a great conversationalist. We really, really enjoyed talking to you. And I really can't wait for this episode to drop. I really, everybody tap in, let us know your thoughts and everything. This is Unofficial Therapy. Officially, you have been therapized.
Check that out.